We will enlist our veterans to find jobs and support for other vets and to be there for our military families. And we're going to grow our foreign service, open consulates that have been shuttered, and double the size of the Peace Corps by 2011 to renew our diplomacy. We cannot continue to rely only on our military in order to achieve the national security objectives that we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well funded.
You'll see the banners come down, and then they start moving. What you don't see from this video on the back end is a lot of the bicycles that are forming a wall around the bicycle behind. So here's a gentleman dumping out weapons to be thrown at the police, and immediately they start multiple felonies of throwing objects at the police who were standing on the statue. We've seen frozen water bottles, frozen cans of different types of substances, rocks, explosive devices, and then obviously here comes the PVC with the banner that was broken apart and then jabbed at the officers. I want to point out that we've had multiple protests at the statue prior to this event that were all peaceful, and we respected everyone's First Amendment right to protest peacefully, but this was not, what you're seeing here was obviously an ambush on the police officers.
We need to use technology to connect people to service. We'll expand USA Freedom Corps to create online networks where Americans can browse opportunities to volunteer. You'll be able to search by category, time commitment, and skill sets. You'll be able to rate service opportunities, build service networks, and create your own service pages to track your hours and activities.
Police say this was a coordinated attack.
At least 2 snipers from elevated positions as the protest rally march ended began firing upon our officers, ambush style.
As the gunfire rang out, police used their patrol cars for cover as they moved in to help wounded officers.
We believe that these suspects were positioning themselves in a way to triangulate on these officers from 2 different perches in garages in the downtown area, and planned to injure and kill as many law enforcement officers as they could.
This will empower more Americans to craft their own service agenda and make their own change from the bottom up. And we also need to invest in ideas that can help meet our common challenges, because more often than not, the great social innovations of the future won't be generated by the government.
I think it's a very dangerous game for Google to start playing the censorship card, particularly if they're going to focus all their efforts of censorship on conservative websites. And if they don't do the same on liberal websites, I think it shows a very clear bias and sends a very clear message about where they are leaning and where they're pushing people to go. I think that's a very dangerous road for them to go down, just like the media shouldn't take a role in elections. Google and other big tech companies shouldn't either. They need to put information out there and let Americans decide for themselves where they're going to go. I've seen some pretty outrageous comments on a lot of liberal websites about the president and people in his administration, myself included, that have never been taken down, never been asked to be removed by companies like Google. And I think this is a very dangerous road, and one they should think very carefully about before they travel down it.
Nonprofit sector employs 1 in 12 Americans, and 115 non-for-profits are launched every day. Yet while the federal government invests $7 billion in research and development for the private sector, there's no similar effort to support nonprofit innovation. Meanwhile, there are ideas across America, in our inner cities and small towns, from college graduates to seniors getting ready to retire, that could benefit millions of Americans if they're given a chance. So as president, I will launch a new social investment fund network. It's time to get the grassroots, the foundations, the faith-based organizations, the private sector, the government at the table together so that we can learn from our own successes. We'll invest in ideas that work, leverage private sector dollars to encourage innovation, and expand successful programs to scale.